Happy Wine Wednesday, everyone. Hope you're having a fabulous week. Tonight, I am sipping on some Pinot Noir. Let me know in the comments what you're sipping on. We'll ask our fellow Seahorse experts and Seahorse lovers, I guess would be a better word, what they're sipping on in a moment. But I do have Ray, Cheryl, and Holly with me. Vincent hasn't joined us yet, but maybe he will. Maybe Dan will. Who knows? It's Wine Wednesday, right? Only updates I have for this week is I'm still busy as a beaver with this new job. And so I'm still working on everything, guys. Anybody who wants to help, I'm here. I'd love to have some help getting things going with the site, with the group, with the membership, with everything else. We need graphics for members to use on our streams. I did actually start the Seahorse Whisperer group member chat. I don't think I put group in there. Seahorse Whisperer member chat. So if you are a member here on YouTube and you're in our Facebook group, reach out to me because I might not know what your name is there because it might not be the same as here. Like Zen Ginger, I got to get you in there. You're an admin and we need you in there. So reach out to me so I can get you added to it's just a messenger group, right? But we have like, say, a Wine Wednesday messenger group where all of us talk about what we want to talk about on Wine Wednesday, or we, just chat with each other, whatever. So this new member chat will be for members where you can get instant access to us, ask us a question without having to post in the group or whatever. It's a benefit of being a member, right? Where you get us instantly and, get an answer more quickly and just from us. So if you're a member, reach out to me so I can add you to this messenger chat group if you're on Facebook. Besides that, hi, Shyla. Hope you're having a great week too. Aside from that, it is just open chat again this week. I do have some guests lined up coming up, but I don't want to announce anything too soon until we get them scheduled. So just stick with me, guys. And with that, I'll take my Wine Wednesday sip. And we're off. All right. Anything new with you guys before I keep on ranting and raving? Holly, anything new with you, Seahorse-wise?
Yeah. So yeah, Candy came down with Scrappy Doo's malady.
Oh, no.
She quit eating one day, so I gave her a freshwater dip, and the same day I gave Scrappy Doo a formalin dip, short term, and put them both in the tank. That's been 2 days ago now, I think. And today I cleaned out the sump, and guess what? More of that gross gunk in the sump. And then I cleaned out the overflow boxes in the other tank, and same thing, a bunch of that gunk. So I don't know if that's maybe part of the problem is that it's holding something for ciliates and stuff to snack on. But anyway, they're not back to eating yet, but a few days before he went for the dip, Scrappy Doo was eating all day at, a little bit at each meal. He had one really good meal where he ate a lot, and then he stopped again, and then Candy stopped eating that same day. So that's when I treated them, but I'm not sending anybody to the hospital again. I'm just going to use the dips because I put Scrappy Doo through every treatment known to man.
Right.
So I'm
quick
do that.
question, Holly. Have you tried? And I know how much you have on your plate. Like it seems like when things go wrong in a seahorse tank, everything goes wrong, and it's just so much on top of everything else. So I'm right there with you. But have you tried?
Yeah.
I heard you say you cleaned out the filters and the overflows and etc.
The sump. I cleaned out the sump. I vacuumed it out with a siphon and stuff, and yeah, which was really hard because, as I told you earlier, I have a pinched nerve right now.
Right.
So anything I do on the floor is really hard.
Right.
So
well, and that's what I was saying. I was saying I know it's just more on your plate, but have you tried like a hugely massive water change?
Oh yeah, they got that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And when I say massive, I mean like massive. Like how much of a water?
He didn't change out like 100%. That I'm not capable of right now. But
right.
I changed out probably about half.
See, okay, that's massive to me. And I was just thinking, Ray, because you always say when there's a problem like ciliates and you treat the seahorse, but you put them back into the tank, if the problem still is there, you've got to fix the problem. So Holly's doing everything she can, right? Would you say, Ray? I mean, what else would you suggest?
Well, I guess not too much else. Keeping the tank clean and the water conditions, keep the detritus down. Uh,
And there's a lot
offhand,
less food going in now because there's only two eating.
Right, right.
So, and that brings up this. I was gonna ask everyone this: has anybody else run into a shortage of Hikari frozen mysis in the flat packs lately?
Me, my store ran out.
My LFS can't get them in. She said the last few weeks they're not bringing them, not even the little flat packs. So all I've got now is cubes, and they'll go through that really fast. So
And
I was just wondering what's going on, if anybody knows or experiencing that.
so
I'll
I
have to
am.
get
I
some next
am.
week.
You have some coming. Well, I've
Well,
experienced
I'll
it.
have to go get it, so maybe I can't.
Okay, we'll find out. And I would tell you, I went to the store to get some, and I got the last flat pack, and I usually double up, so I bought the cubes too. And they said they're having trouble getting them in. I'll reach out to Hikari, see if I can't get some answers, because I don't have any at this point. But I will tell you too, and this is a topic maybe to conversate about, is I've noticed that when they have the cubes versus the flat pack, the cubes seem to have more of the little bits, broken up pieces, and more of the preservative, right? So like when I rinse it, it turns almost to nothing because it seems like that whole cube is a bunch of preservative and little teeny pieces. Anybody else have this
Give me a
experience?
minute. I'm going to go. I've got a place that may have some. Let me check.
Okay. All right. And
But yeah, I just started using the cubes the other day. So I'm only on like my fourth cube and figuring out how much to use. And right now, I figured out one cube is enough for a meal for my whole tank in this room, in the tiki tank, which is 6 seahorses. They're not as big as the others, but one cube is enough for all of them, and there'll be a little left over. Now, in the display tank, because I've only got two eating right now, a half a cube is about right for the two that are eating.
okay.
I've found out, and I think if the others were eating also, the four of them would probably eat one cube.
Okay.
Feeding,
Is,
right.
Pets,
is,
Pets
is my
Warehouse
guess.
has them. According to this,
Well, and Cheryl, I know you're looking at places that have Acaromyces, but why aren't they coming to our pet stores
At
anymore?
the stores.
Because
That's
I don't
what
want to order online. I don't like getting
I
frozen
don't
food
either.
shipped. I would
everything's on
rather.
Pet Warehouse. They're typically more expensive than some
Well,
of
and the
the
shipping cost is ridiculous, and then they usually come in refrozen or melt, not frozen. I've
Yeah,
never
I don't
had good luck.
entirely trust that.
I've never had good luck in getting frozen food shipped to me. And when I looked at the shipping prices, I was like, oh, hell no. I
Yeah,
would rather drive
they're very
the hour I
expensive.
have to drive to go to the town that the fish store is in that carries it and get it. But for some reason, the fish store is having trouble getting it in. So that's what I'm
And then
wondering.
at my fish store, they didn't get a lot of packs of the squares, so I ended up buying them all, like four of them, because I've never used them, so I don't know how much I'll use. But in my head, I'm thinking if they eat 3 times a day, 2 tanks, 1 cube each at each meal. I mean, thank goodness only two are eating in one tank right now, but that's going through the cubes pretty darn fast in my mind.
And I see Fish Fam Link is with us and Fish Frenzy Addiction. Hello, guys and gals. We're wondering if you're experiencing this too. If you just joined, we're talking about the fact that we're having trouble getting Hikari at our fish stores. Like they keep telling us they can't get them in. And I know I've talked to Dan before and I've talked to companies before, and it's a pain to get in frozen foods, even to the pet stores, because you got to have a refrigerated truck. or they're not going to come in frozen. And it's this big haul and pain in the butt. And I hope that Gina's Reef jumps in at some point. We'll ask her too, like how and why we aren't getting Hikari frozen mysis in at the stores. Because as I just said, the shipping's ridiculous if you want to buy it online, and I don't trust it. It always comes in thawed, and that's no good for us. You know, we don't want it thawed. It's
And the
bacteria.
cubes, I mean, my local fish store is a ways away. It's about a 40-minute drive from here, and now it's summer. And I noticed those cubes, they don't stay as frozen
Nope.
as well as the flat pack either, because they wrapped them for me, but I didn't put them in a freezer bag. Usually the newspaper wrap is enough and inside of one of those refrigerator bags. But these little guys, I got home and they were already starting to get mushy, and I'm like, oh no, this is not good.
Right. And I would say, well, what I do is I take a cooler filled with ice.
I'm gonna have to start doing that with ice packs and all that. But I never needed them with the flat packs. They'd stay frozen, wrapped up and in a refrigerator shopping bag, you know, and that didn't work with the little cubes.
Right.
They defrost too quickly. So
and when you're in a bad situation like this, you've got to use what you have for sure. Just make sure to rinse it. Holly is rinsing. But you know, you don't want frozen foods that have thawed, because that turns into a disaster. Think about would you leave your shrimp sitting out on the counter for hours and let it de-thaw? No, you would not. I hope you would not. So you don't want to do that to the Seahorse food either, right? I mean, you do not want it once it's been thawed and refrozen, because that bacteria, the bad stuff, is just being frozen in with it. And even though we rinse, there's some things I just think it's a big danger, right? Cheryl, why else is it dangerous to feed seahorses thawed foods?
Now, why is it what?
A danger to feed seahorses thawed foods. Like if you buy
because
food,
as fast as that stuff thaws, you're immediately going to start growing bacteria on it.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you're risking creating a very large problem for yourself. This is why we tell people, thaw what you're going to feed and feed them immediately. Don't let them sit around. And the thing is, I personally have not had a problem with getting them still being frozen when they're brought in, but I'm more than willing to pay extra to ensure that it's wrapped, packaged with dry ice, etc., in order to get it.
And hey, we got Chris Carey with us. Hey, Chris, jump in if you can. We'd love to hear from you. We got to have you as a guest soon. See what you're up to. We know you're up to good stuff. But anyway, sorry, Cheryl. Go ahead and finish. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just it's a contamination that concerns me. And if it's been thawed, you also are and refrozen, you may kill off some of the bacteria. You may not, but you've already dramatically reduced your nutrient level. And
that's the key. I was hoping you would say, Cheryl, is that the nutrient level goes down too, right? So as soon as they're thawed, they start losing anything good that was within them that is good for the seahorses. We already know that we need, to use probiotics and enrichments and all that stuff when we're using live feeds, because they don't keep it long, right? So think about frozen, even if it's flash frozen, like I like Hikari, I like PE mysis, but they're losing it the second that they're thawed. So
there is a company, a wholesaler. They also sell to the general public down in Florida. The problem with them is they only ship airport to airport. You have to pay shipping, which is really high.
Yeah.
And
probably buy a lot.
And it's one of those things where you have to order to make it cost effective. You have to order a huge amount.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm anxious to see how Shyla does with the freeze dried.
Yeah, me too, Shyla.
Because that may be the way to go to avoid this kind of thing.
And Ray, that was your answer to start with, right? The freeze dried.
Well, it's an alternative, but for me, I found it most convenient if you wanted to, if you don't have live food and you want to gut load with something, at least the freeze dried will soak up some of the either the med or the nutrient, whatever you want to use. I don't think I'd want to use it on an everyday basis unless, if I had to, okay, that's fine, but I wouldn't want to have to do it
Because
every
it's a
day.
pain.
Yeah, it's a pain.
Okay, so it's a pain,
It
but
might be
all
good
that
to have on hand for emergency, like if I can't get the frozen mysis in, if
absolutely.
they'll eat the freeze dried, then it would probably be good to have some on hand. And I already have some enrichment, that could be
Absolutely. So,
added to it.
Shiloh, we
So
need to know if you've started,
what they think.
what you think. Yeah, we
Mhm.
need your
Yeah.
opinions.
What you
If you,
think and what the seahorses think.
yep, and if you can't answer in here, post it in the group. Give us an update about how it's going with the freeze dried. Go ahead, Cheryl.
I was going to say the other alternative would be if you can even find San Francisco Bay mysis shrimp frozen.
Mhm.
That would be another alternative, although they typically are quite small.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Hikari again in the
Sometimes Hikari's quite small too.
right, and I was gonna say I've noticed that, and Andrea, I'm gonna answer Andrea's question in like 2 minutes, but I've noticed that the flat packs of Hikari mysis just seem to be better. They seem to have more whole pieces of shrimp versus when you get the cubes. I don't know if it's because you have to rinse it so long to break down the cube or what, but it's breaking apart in its pieces. And my seahorses like big chunks. They don't like little teeny. They won't eat the little slivers of half of a piece of mysis. It's
I think it's more likely the processing that packages it.
maybe that's
Yeah,
right.
I think so.
Right. So I'm just saying I like the flat packs personally. Andrea, real quick, we're gonna swerve to the side because I didn't see your question until we started talking foods, and we can go back to foods, of course. But when I said at the beginning of this that if you're a member, let me know on Facebook so I can add you to the member chat. It's because basically we value every person that comes to Wine Wednesday, every person in the group. We're here for all of you. But if you support the channel, right? And by supporting the channel, I'll show you what that means in a minute. But when you support the channel, it helps us have income to, get better guests, to do giveaways, things like that. And so basically, I'll show you right now what it means. If you go to Seahorse Whisperer on YouTube and you go to membership, which it's going to show me different. It's going to show me my members. But if you go to membership, it's going to say join. And it's like there are different levels. There are, I don't even know if it'll show on my end. It probably won't. But basically, you see little posts that I do that other people don't see. You'll get the benefit of being in this chat that other people don't get. It's just like, hey, if you support the channel with $1 or $2 a month, then we want to give you something extra back, right? So that's all it is. You'll still get answers in the group. It's just if you remember, you might get them a little quicker in the chat. I'm just trying to make benefits for people who support the channel. But we still value each and every single person that comes, that is in the group, that shares with us, that asks us questions. We value you all. It's just, trying to give a benefit to people who support the channel. So if you want to join, just go to YouTube, go to Seahorse Whisperer, hit join, and it gives you options and shows you what the options are. And I'm still working on those options. Like I think
You
Holly,
need to pick a t-shirt.
I was gonna
That
say,
reminds me.
I think Holly is my only expert level member at this point. But if you become an expert member level, then you get to actually get a free shirt. And we're still working on the design of that. So everything's still kind of in the works. We're playing with it, guys. We're just trying to make the community bigger and better is kind of the point, right? So if none of it works, we'll fix it. We'll rearrange it. We're just trying to find different. Ray asked me, what the heck is a member chat? And I was like, well, we're just trying this to see if it's something that people would find beneficial, right? So, but that's it. You don't have to join by all means. We're still going to help you with any Seahorse questions. We're still in both Seahorse Whisperer group and Seahorse Sources group, there for you, ready to help you, and on Wine Wednesday. Just we want to kind of make an even tighter knit community of people that actually support, that we can help more instantly, or can vote on ideas or guests. I don't know yet. You can look at the membership tiers and we're developing this issue. So
actually, what I asked was to define instant access.
yes, you did. Instant access. And for that definition, as I told Ray, is the only difference really with the member chat is that, for instance, we have a Wine Wednesday chat. And for some reason I get those notifications, whereas I don't get Facebook notifications. It's probably something in my settings. But bottom line is, if Cheryl and Holly are talking about what they want to talk about on the next Wine Wednesday, or they're discussing Scrappy Doo or whatever, Holly's posting these things in the groups too, for sure, and on her page. But when she wants an answer from Cheryl, like more quickly than waiting for her to see the post, she goes into that chat. So that's what we're trying to create, something where members can say
on Messenger,
on Facebook Messenger, where they can say, I just got my seahorses and they're not breathing right. And instead of waiting or getting answers from everybody, getting answers from the tight knit group, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But we're just trying it. We're just seeing how it works. But if you're a member, let me know so that I can add you to the chat and we can see how it works and if it works. So, all right, that's it for that.
Is Kevin asking to come in live? He says, I'm late. I want in.
Oh, okay.
Is he trying to get into the
Kevin, are you
live,
trying to get into the live, or are you just asking about membership? Because we would welcome you, of course, but if you,
I'm not sure what he wants in.
If you got something you want to share live, I can send you a link immediately. Let me know. Speaking of which, I know we want to talk a little bit more about food, but I did post in the group. I know we talked about this previously, but I am sick and tired of this all-in-one. I'm sorry. I know that I set up this all-in-one tank to prove to people that you can keep seahorses in a smaller tank. I want people in apartments and, in homes that don't have wonderful, what's it called under your house? The foundations that don't have wonderful foundations to be able to keep seahorses. So we always recommend sumps. We always recommend the bigger is better with seahorses, more water volume. And then the sump is like a lifesaver in most cases. But I set up this all-in-one in order to show that you could keep them in a smaller tank. And I will admit, full force, that I overstocked it. I still have 5 seahorses in a 40-gallon all-in-one. That's a no-no. Don't do it yourself, because that's probably the reason for most of my problems. But it keeps getting cloudy. And so I'm sorry I rambled, but my question in the group was, do you keep a RKC Robert King clownfish char chamber, and how often do you change the char? Because when I first added the RKC chamber, my tank was glorious. I mean, it was Ray, don't tell me I told you so, damn it. But my point is, I think I'm not changing the char fast enough. That's what I think. And Holly, I want to know, did you ever try the other char?
In my freshwater tank.
Okay.
I actually, and what I did with it, I don't know if you remember, because we actually discussed it on here. And so what I did in that tank, I was starting to have issues with higher nitrates than I wanted.
Okay.
And Robert King suggested that for some reason, and he doesn't know why, but since he was using his own char in his systems, he said what he experienced was reduced nitrates. So I thought I'd try that too. And what I did, I remember how it all started was I used to have a hood with a built-in filtration system. It had the bio wheel.
Right.
And the pump failed. And I found out that special pump that it needs costs a fortune. So I switched out the hood for hang on back stuff. So I had to do new filtration and stuff, and it wasn't keeping up with stuff yet. I was getting like really low ammonia readings, and the nitrates were getting higher. And I ended up putting a little hang on back filter in addition to a big regular hang on back filter. But all I put in that little filter was a media bag filled with Robert King's char. And it took about 2 weeks. And I'll be darned if I had less nitrate issues than I was having.
Right, and that's kind of what I was saying.
It's a strain. I don't know why. I can't explain it either.
Well, the chamber is really the key. I mean, the chamber is the key because it's pulling in through the sponge filter all the stuff. It's blocking the bigger stuff that bacteria can't eat, and then it's pulling the good stuff that the bacteria wants up through the chamber, and then it's also oxygenating the water by using bubbles. So I mean, it's a genius design, and I love it.
And I use those in the Seahorse tanks, but I can't speak for the nitrate stuff or the difference between the Robert King char because I have aqua char
Right.
in the ones in the Seahorse tanks. And in the freshwater tank where I have the Robert King char, I don't have a chamber. It's just inside of that filter.
Okay.
So it's a different thing. But I did notice the nitrates weren't getting as high.
Good. Well, maybe I'll have to order some and do some testing on my own. But I'll tell you that with the Aquachar and the Robert King chamber, my tank was gloriously clear for months. I mean, I barely had to do water changes. I probably, Ray has slapped my hand because I probably slacked because it was so good. And now it's like every water change, the tank looks glorious again. But then when I get close to my next water change, it's cloudy. And I'm just like, and I will admit, as we've talked about, it's a no-no, but I do scrub my rocks every water change because I am getting algae. And that's another thing that I wasn't getting when I first added the RKC chamber. Maybe I should get him back in here for an episode to kind of walk me through what to do. I really think my problem is just that it's such a small tank and it's overstocked. And I probably need to do bigger water changes, but I'm wondering if changing the char a little more often might be beneficial. And if you don't know what Aquachar is, please search up Aquachar. And if you don't know what the Robert King chamber is, search it up because these products are really working for me. I'm bitching about them right now, but it's because I'm not taking care of them as I should. And the thing is, like, that's my question. Do you guys clean the sponge filter? How often? Do you just switch it around or do you clean the gunk off? And if algae starts growing on it, do you scrub it off or not? And we know that with at least Aquachar, I don't know about the Robert King char, but with the Aquachar, it turns into a biofilter. So you don't want to change it all out all the time. Like I have a bag of Aquachar that sits in my sock with a bag of Purigen. And basically they just sit there and I never change them. I clean the sock, but I keep the Aquachar and the Purigen in tank water as I'm doing the water change and I put them back in because it's a biofilm. It's like a rock, right? It's so porous and so wonderful that it's acting as a biofilter or biological filter, sorry. But then I still want that chemical side of the filtration too that the char chamber and Aquachar offers. So I'm wondering if I shouldn't
in the directions to switch it out half every 6 months. It comes with directions that say that. So I just follow that. And then as far as answering Ray's question about the nitrate, he doesn't test for them. The difference is in my freshwater tank, I have a fish that's sensitive to nitrates. So in the freshwater tank, I have to test for nitrates now and then. And I have also lots of plants.
Why is Seahorse tank?
Yeah, but she's saying
I don't not the Seahorse tank. I was talking about my freshwater tank.
Unless you've got something in the Seahorse tank, like a specific coral that is sensitive to the nitrate.
No. But Ray, she's saying she doesn't test in her Seahorse tank. She tests in her freshwater tank.
I was talking about the freshwater tank because I have a fish in my freshwater tank that is sensitive to nitrates.
But I thought you were testing both.
No, I was talking about the freshwater
But
tank.
that's interesting though, and that's another. I know we're diving into different conversations here and never really finishing anything. But I test nitrates in my Seahorse tanks. I do.
We got an asshole on
Uh
again.
oh.
Kelly, what I want to
Okay, I
know,
got it.
how do you wear those socks?
Hang on.
I rarely test the
Gone.
seahorses. I do now and then out of curiosity, but
Thank you,
honestly,
Ray.
I don't test them for anything, hardly ever. I used to test once a month, and now I test maybe every 2 or
But we,
3.
but we,
Just
but we need to be clear that we're talking about you and other people that
had it going for
have
years.
kept
Yeah.
seahorses for a long time. If you set up a new seahorse tank, please test, because you, while a little bit of ammonia won't kill them, you want to know so you can nip it in the bud before it becomes a problem, right? Not, you don't want nitrites. And nitrates, as Ray has said, most seahorse keepers don't test for it, but that's after they have really established tanks that are good. And who's to say, Holly? In fact, I want you to test nitrates in the seahorse tank because you're having a problem with possibly ciliates. I want to know if the nitrate levels are high. I want to know if there's a correlation. You know what I mean? So sometime this
Now,
week,
I
test.
did, as a matter of fact, though, I did, as a matter of fact, out of curiosity, I did test that last month. I tested that, and they were below a 5. So
Sorry,
I doubt much change in that time.
well, usually
So
we do so many water changes, we keep the tank so clean. But there are others out there that keep a very natural seahorse tank that is going to have nitrates, right? So I would just say don't not test nitrates, right? There's nothing, you should never chase numbers. Don't chase pH, don't chase nitrates, whatever. But if you see your nitrates are high, do a water change. I don't see anything wrong with that. If you're
and I've had
established,
higher nitrates
yeah.
than that, but the last year or so, I mean, that tank's been going about 5 years now. So
Well, and Ray, you disagreed with me. You said that a little ammonia is problematic because any small level can burn gills, right?
I've had people think that 0.025 that it shows up in some of their charts, that's the smallest level there, and they think that that is okay, but that still burns gills. So any at all is going to damage them, whether you see it immediately or not. It's still happening.
Well, and that's interesting too because what could you see someone thinking that they have a, not you, Holly, because you have an established tank, but someone new could mistake a ciliate infection or whatever for burned gills from an ammonia problem. So that's what I'm saying is test is all I'm saying. Is if you're new, test. Don't be afraid to test. Testing is good. If you get good test, good, right? I mean, that's it. It doesn't hurt anything. So I understand that, developed and established keepers don't test nitrate, but I still do. I still do, just for the heck of it. It's usually 0 or under 5. But
I think we got another bad one, Kelly.
okay, I'm trying here. Sorry, Ray is awesome, dummy. Go away. All right.
You're attracting the the trollers tonight.
He didn't like that I called him an asshole the first time he logged
That's
in.
it. And they can unfortunately jump back in under a new name. So if you guys see anything in the comments, I'm sorry. I'll get them out as soon as I can for sure. You wouldn't believe the trolling I've gotten over these years. It's insane. But we're okay. It's all right. We'll keep going. Anyways, you guys just keep telling me if I miss it. And Kevin said, take the char out and shake it in water, change water to remove any growth of detritus. Right, Kevin, I get
I do that with the bags.
and I do too. And and in the chart, in the chamber, in the
I
Robert,
do that with the char chamber too. What I'll do is I'll disconnect them now and then when I see they're starting to get gunky, but before I change out the char, so more often than the 6 months, I'll do the same thing. I'll take them and I'll squeeze them in the bucket of dirty water that I'm getting from the water change and just squeeze out the sponge and swish it around. And I do take like a cotton pad sometimes if a scrubber doesn't work to get the algae off. I'll take cotton pad dipped in peroxide and wipe down where the algae's growing that I don't want. But I let them go for a little while. Like they'll be starting to get all algae, and then finally I'm like, oh, I can't stand it anymore, and I'll take them out.
Well, that's what
leave them
I
alone.
wish Vincent had jumped in tonight. And Vincent, if you're out there, jump in if you're able. But in his tanks, we've seen the videos where the char chambers look like shit, but they're
No,
working.
some people never do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still work. You don't have to do that.
Well,
I
but
just don't
I
like the
just,
way they
and I think I'm the kind of point that I'm trying to make, or the question I'm trying to ask is, in a smaller tank where everything is more important, every little thing changes everything, right? When you have a big tank and a sump, that's the whole point to having a big tank and a sump, is you don't have drastic changes whenever something happens. So all I'm saying is, would adding more char to the chamber or in other places or whatever act better as more of the chemical filtration versus the bio? Because I understand the bio is important, but in my tank it's so small, it just, if I don't have that chemical filtration going on because it's turned into bio, it's getting cloudy every week, you know?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'll keep playing with it.
Part of that may be due to the sponge filter being contaminated, because that's one of the reasons. One of the problems with sponge filters is it's very easy for detritus to get sucked in tight against them, and they can be very hard to clear out if you're not putting up, really working at
How
it.
do you clear them out, Cheryl? Like a sponge filter, I thought that was also a biofilter. It's holding bacteria. It's, it's good. So how do you clear out detritus from that?
But it also can get, if you look at them closely, the thing is, I played around a lot with the biofilters, and they will get food stuck in them that is a royal pain to get out.
So how do you get it out?
I pull them out and add a fresh one,
Okay.
and then clean them that way when I make the changes, just because I don't want to take a chance of having that excess debris, food and the like, sitting in the sponge.
No, that makes sense. And the sponge isn't the key, it's the char. So
Exactly.
okay. All right. I don't know why these people are coming in here.
He's persistent. Isn't he?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry. I'm trying to block them.
Yeah.
Where's Zen Ginger when I need her? Zen Ginger's usually blocking them for me. Anyways, all right. So that put me off track, unfortunately. So what else did we need to chat about, guys? Unless you want me to go on my montage of what's going on in my tanks.
I think we covered all my list.
Okay. I think there was a question about seahorses at the very beginning that I missed. Let me look.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yesterday, my pair had those freeze-dried for dinner. They only had a few snicks. We'll try it for their dinner again tonight. It's like they know the difference. Of course.
Yeah, there's something new. Yeah, they do. I remember mine the first time they got the smaller Hikari mysis, the winter harvest or whatever. Cheryl calls it. They looked at me like, "What is this?"
Yeah. Well, and it's funny how we've all had different experiences. Like,
and now they'll eat it. Like now they know about it. They know it's food. So the sizes, they'll look at it first like, okay, we're getting small today. Oh, today it's But at first, the first time they ever saw it, they were hesitant. They were like, okay, what's this?
Well, and it's so interesting to me that we have seahorses just within our little group here, that some will won't take Artemia, won't eat Artemia. Some won't eat freeze-dried. Some won't eat well, they'll all eat mysids. But I mean, Lucy had seahorses that would eat peppermint shrimp. Mine wouldn't even go near them. It's just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Okay. All right.
It just goes on.
I know it. Sorry.
I keep getting a message. Oops, something went wrong. Try reloading the page.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Apparently they're trying to spam us tonight. Don't pay attention to it, Cheryl. You're not being hacked, are you?
That shows up when she blocks somebody, Cheryl.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Just ignore that. I'm blocking spammers that keep jumping in and trying to be jerks. It's people that are haters. I mean, like we're such a small channel, it doesn't even make sense. But feel
Can you
free.
imagine the size of the brain on people like that?
Well, you know what it tells
That's
me?
why they call them pea brains.
Pea brains. And you know what it tells me is that this channel's making traction because for them to be going all out of their way on this, to do this tells me that we're
Mhm.
making traction. And let's see. Kevin said, take the char out. Did I already say this part and chicken? Yeah, I did already say this part. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I like all that. But in the chamber, Kevin, in the chamber, how do you manage? Do you just change out some every 6 months? Or if this does continue, you guys, I will have to end the stream because now we've got them coming in massively. Sorry. But let's just try to keep going, see if we can. Let's see. So I also want to know, has anybody played with the home grow kit? Holly, have you made any extensive?
I haven't. Like I said, I'm going through a lot of stuff right now. Like with my pinched nerve,
Sure.
I've got physical therapy and appointments and all kinds of stuff, and trying to take care of the seahorses and the house. And so no, I haven't really had time to figure that out and do anything with it.
Well, and as I told you guys, sorry, I'm going in and out because I'm trying to handle this YouTube stuff. Sorry. But as I said before, I'm working on, yeah, I know it is, buddy, and I can keep blocking you.
Okay,
Bye.
I'm
Just
gonna
ignore it,
log
Cheryl.
off. I'm gonna log off and log back in because I keep getting all kinds of strange stuff coming up.
Okay. No problem. Go ahead.
Okay.
Don't let the spammer scare you.
Well,
It's
Yeah.
sad,
all
but
kinds of things that have nothing to do with seahorses popping up.
I know that. And they're just trying to ruin our stream because
Yeah.
what? Because we're so
It-
awesome that you guys just
It's
want to join
spammers,
us.
Cheryl.
So what I was going to
Yeah,
say is that I really do believe that my young male from Vincent is pregnant, and I've got more upcoming information for you guys. But I really believe he is. That's why I want to get this tank in shape, and I can't wait to post little babies for you soon. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited! I just please, you guys, say some prayers or cross fingers or whatever that he is, because I can't wait to have Fry again. I am just so anxious.
Aw.
And Ray's looking like, why would you want Fry again? Crazy. Anybody who's done it knows what work it is. And I am so busy with the new job, but oh my gosh, anybody out there who's had and raised Fry knows what an awesome experience it is. So tell me, you guys,
It is.
in the comment section, we're open chat. Obviously, I'm letting the spammers get to me. I'm trying not to. But if you have questions, ask them now so we can discuss them. And if you, Ray, I think they have a heart on for you. Boy.
Apparently so.
As long as he's having fun.
Right. And it's just because Ray's so
Yeah.
awesome. Ray's so awesome.
And that guy apparently has no life.
Right.
I'm wondering why he did the restoration because there probably is nothing there to work with.
Right. Well, I'll keep blocking him, but if I get off track, you guys give us something to chat about if you want us to keep going. Of course, I have been saying I want to make these streams shorter, but just for the record, Kevin, I'm so glad that you joined membership. Now I want to make it worth it to you. So again, that's what I'm looking for, is people to help me design new emojis for on YouTube, because you don't have to just use them on my channel. You can use them on other channels, and people will say, where'd you get that cool seahorse emoji? And when I made them first, I made them with words, so you can't see the words. If Zen Ginger was here, she'd show and show how they look. But I want help with that. I want to make perks for people that are members, and I want to make the community grow. So anybody who wants to help on the website, in the group, on the membership side, I am looking for help. And if you can't help, we're just glad to have you, is the point. And Rand's fan base is growing, Shyla said.
Yeah.
And Kevin said remove half the char and replace it every 4 to 6
Yeah,
months. Well, I think that's
that's
it.
right.
I think I'm going to start every 4 versus 6 because I was
Yeah,
waiting
'cause
for
you have
6 and because I have a
crowd.
crowded tank and it's just, yeah. No, I agree. So I guess that answered my question. Oh,
Yeah,
Shyla's
mine
showing.
comes next month.
It doesn't show up when I show the comment, but if you're on YouTube, you can see that she's using all the member emojis that you can use on other channels. So we got to figure out how to make them better because I was doing my best, but Anyways, what else do we have to
If you
discuss?
think about it, setting a timeline like 6 months, change it every 6 months. You can't do something like that that's going to suit all people because
Right.
every tank system is going to be different.
Right.
Yeah.
If I have an overcrowded 40-gallon all-in-one versus someone with a 100-gallon
More
with a
often.
sump, I mean, that's totally different. I totally agree.
Mhm.
So that's a good point. And we need to reiterate that more often because all too often people want answers of, exactly how do you do this? But there
Mhm.
is no exactly. It depends on your tank. It depends on your seahorses. Holly, what are you sipping on?
Yellowtail.
Oh, you're doing wine with me tonight.
I am, yeah.
Cabernet,
This says
though.
it's 80% Shiraz, 20% Cabernet, it says
Ooh.
on it.
So you like the deep red, huh?
I do. Well, honestly, I don't drink wine normally, but my mother-in-law gave us that bottle for Thanksgiving and it didn't get drank.
Mhm.
And so I opened it, I think, for one of these wine Wednesdays a few weeks ago and had some then. But I haven't been drinking lately at all, hardly. So I thought I would have some wine tonight for something different
Mhm.
because it's also got like antioxidants and things that are good for you in it. And I'm been trying to be healthy, so
Well, so
my wine's the healthiest option out of the other alcohols, I guess.
I hear you, but I do have to tell you, with red wine, you have to be really careful. Like if it tastes funny, don't drink it because usually if I open a bottle of red wine, it's not refrigerated usually. And so
Mhm.
by the next day it's okay, but after the next
Mhm.
day, it turns into vinegar. So if it tastes funny, don't drink it.
Oh, yeah. I've had that happen before. This one's fine
Okay, it's probably
right
the
now,
mix.
but maybe I'll stick it in the refrigerator
Something. But
because I like cold wine anyway. But
Does it
it's
help
all
the nerve pain?
does it help the nerve pain? He said.
yes,
Right.
actually, it does. And this is interesting because I actually did a little research of this because I know like alcohol causes inflammation in your body. But I had an experience and I've had it more than once over the years of drinking like a high proof alcohol or drinking a lot and it got rid of my sciatica or whatever I thought what for like a long time. Like I was having a bout and for some reason the next day I didn't have any problem. And it didn't come back for a while. And so I was talking to a friend about this and the same with like the arthritis sometimes. And he's like, "Well, that makes no sense because alcohol causes inflammation, so it should be making things worse, not better." So I actually looked into it and found, some different studies and things. And now they say it depends on the individual. Some people it actually helps, and some people it doesn't.
Hmm.
Now, it does cause inflammation, but in some kinds of arthritis, I guess, or for some people, it actually fights inflammation
Huh.
in some ways. And it is a nerve, it slows down your nervous system.
Well, that makes
So
sense.
that's why it helps with pain for that.
Okay, time out,
So it
time
can be
out, time
good
out,
and
time
bad,
out, time out. We are not suggesting that anyone use wine or any other alcohol to medicate. Please don't think that we are suggesting this on the show. everyone's statements are just their own personal experience. I guess that's good enough as a disclaimer, but we are not suggesting using wine as a medication. But no, I hear you. It does mess up your
That's how
liver,
I've
but
noticed that. But yeah, it causes problems, but it helps with things too.
it's all in
So,
moderation. It's in
and
moderation.
it's also what does your body
That's
do?
right.
Like in the actual article I was reading, it said notice how it affects your body, and if you feel it makes your arthritis worse, whatever, then don't
Stop.
drink it.
Right.
Yeah, but if it helps a little bit, it's okay.
Just like
So
with our Seahorse tanks. If a bigger water change helps or a char chamber, no, but I would say seriously, every tank is individual. Every person is individual. Go ahead, Ray.
Mhm.
I can't use it as a pain reliever anyway because I haven't had a drink since '91.
And that's awesome because you chose not to. I mean,
Mhm.
that's your
Mhm.
what you needed to do.
I had to. I was an alcoholic.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thank you for admitting that, and thank you for being in recovery that long and staying clean. I mean, that's awesome. I'm sorry we bring
Hey,
you to
it's a lot
Wine
easier
Wednesday and
from
drink
that.
around you.
It was easier to do that than quit smoking. Quitting smoking was harder.
That's something I need help with for sure. But
I quit smoking before that, and I'm still reaching in my pocket to take out a pack of
you're
cigarettes.
kidding. That many years
No.
later.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's rough.
Is Scott stopped? Remember I told you he stopped and he hasn't smoked since.
I mean, that's I
Doesn't
think
have
again
a
it's the individual, the willpower, whether you can do
yeah.
it or not. And what, your faith, whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to go that deep. But I would say, guys, as we kind of wrap this up, as we're getting into personal stuff now, I would say I'm getting ready to hopefully have fry. So the conversation is likely, since I run this, going to turn towards fry. So if you're interested in fry, yay. But if you're not and you just want to keep a pair of seahorses, start asking us more questions because as you ask the questions, not only does it help you, but it helps somebody else who watches it later. So don't be afraid if I come in here and I'm like, I just had fry and they're not taking the Artemia and the enrichment's not working and whatever. And you say, yeah, but what can I put in a Seahorse tank? Totally cool. That's what we want. We want to answer your questions. This isn't just for us, it's for you. And so I would just say, always ask your questions. And even if you feel like it's not a good question, there's no dumb questions. We all had them and we want to share with the community. That's the point. And Ray said, tell your boss you need more workload and the fry will come. Amen. That's probably why I'm so busy lately is I'm getting ready to have fry and then I'll be like, but
Yeah.
All right, you guys, anything else for tonight? Because I'm trying to keep these spammers out, but they just keep coming. So
Yeah, I want to know what you're doing with the weather.
the weather,
I had to turn the damn heat on tonight.
the heat. Oh, I'm turning on the
Yeah,
air.
Is it
it's going
hot
down
there?
below freezing tonight.
Okay, so hang on. Ray's in Canada and it's freezing. I'm in Indiana.
Oh wow.
And in Indiana, it's perfect. It's been great weather. A few storms, but that's it. Holly, what's it like where you're at?
Yeah, I think outside, I think we got to maybe 82 today. Haven't been outside. I was working on Seahorse tanks. It says we got to 83 today was our high. And our lows have been in the high 50s, right around 60-ish. So that's been pretty perfect for me. I like that temperature. And then I want to say the week before, it went though from like 50s to like 80 within like a few days. It went from like winter to summer like overnight here.
That's never good.
And down in the valley, like half an hour away, they're in the 90s. Because we're a higher elevation. We're 12 degrees cooler than the valley here. So that helps. So when I'm like 83, they're like 95 lately.
Shyla said it's so hot in Singapore, and Kevin said you stopped drinking years ago. Coffee is your favorite now. I actually made a cup. I'm going to send you one. Kevin, I need your address because I made a cup that says coffee counts on Wine Wednesday. So I'm
Nice.
sending you that coffee cup. Give me your address. I need it.
Yeah, the coffee counts Wine Wednesday
Yep.
cup. That's sweet.
But anyways, no, Cheryl, how's the weather where you're at?
Today it wasn't bad. And this whole last week we've been up to our eyeballs in flash flooding, severe thunderstorms, uh, golf ball and larger size hail coming down in certain
Oh,
parts,
geez.
swift water rescues of people that driven into the low water crossings.
Ugh.
It's been a heck of a week. I'll put it to you that way.
So when it's
We've had a
Just-
lot of water rescues here too, but it's because of the snow melt. We had
Yeah.
such a bad winter here, which was actually good for our water table. But people were getting in over their heads with what their capabilities are as far as handling swift water.
Well,
Because all the creeks, all the rivers are full and they're moving fast. We had a little girl, I guess her dog jumped in and the little girl went after her.
oh no.
They were both all right. They ended up stranded on a little island, and some people that were rafting happened to come along and rescue them and get them to shore while they were waiting for the emergency
Holy
crews
crap.
to arrive and
Yeah.
rescue them. So they ended up rescued. Some other people too being in the Sacramento River, a couple of young girls, probably teenagers or early 20s, they got kind of out of control and they had to rescue them. So it's just like too early here in the year. I'm in Northern California, and it's really too early for those kind of water activities right now. The water's very swift and very cold from the snow melt.
Hmm.
So we got
yeah.
that going on, and we had earthquakes
Yeah.
last
Well,
week. Lake
we've hit
Elvis
it so, we've hit
had
it so
full
bad.
within 11 hours.
We've had it so bad in certain areas. Fire departments doing swift water rescues to people that have driven into low water crossings, not realizing how deep the water is. See, where I live on the hill, there's a low water crossing before I can get out to the highway at all. So when it gets bad here, if I'm not at home, I'm not going home. And if I'm home, I'm not going anywhere. Because yeah, I have seen when I used to work search and rescue dogs when I was younger. I worked too many flash floods, and it's not pretty when you lose somebody.
No. And I would say it sounds like when things are good for me, they're bad for all of you. Is bottom line. When I'm like, oh, it's so nice.
Places like that, yeah, where that, but the thing is, it's not just like all of a sudden it's deep water, because it happens all the time here. So like down in the valley, closer to the Sacramento River, on some of the roads they have a sign that says, "Do not continue if water is above this line." There'll be a painted line across the road where the sign is. So if you can't see that line, don't go.
Right.
Actually, what they do here is they actually have gates, fences that they pull out to block some of the worst areas. I've been here with whole 10, 12 homes have been washed away and things like that.
Bad.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking when we get flash flooding, the interstate's flooded. It turns into a nightmare.
Ray said
this year in Central California, not where I am, but down lower towards Fresno and all that this year, because of the winter I was talking about. They've had some serious flooding down there.
Yeah.
Ray said just move to London, Ontario. No quakes, no hurricanes or tornadoes, just winters that are not really severe anymore. Because why, Ray?
Yeah, we got your winters now, Ray. Thanks a lot.
You're right.
This winter was gnarly.
Well,
We had close to 3 feet of snow at my house, and I have not seen that.
Well, you guys,
was-
lovely conversation, but this is more of the after party where we just talk whatever we want to talk. So I
Right.
am going to end it. My family just came in. They're bombarding me. They're literally, you can't see them, but they're right here going, gimme, 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 gimme. So I am going to end it for tonight. But if you have a topic that you want discussed, I appreciate people like Fish Family Link and, all the other people that come. If you have a topic that you want discussed, please reach out to us. Make sure to join Seahorse Whisperers group and Seahorse Sources group, but Seahorse Whisperer group, so that we can talk with you one-on-one. Get in there. I don't care if you're freshwater, reefing, coral, macro, seahorses. Get in there. Give us some topics to talk about and help us to make the community better, because that's our goal. It's not about one person, it's about all of us. We're all Seahorse Whisperers, right? So, but for tonight, I'm going to end it and start the after party. You can be a part of that if you want to. Just let me know. But if you have topics you want to discuss, like I said, we're here to talk about them. Bacteria, nitrates, nitrites, ammonia, seahorses, coral, doesn't matter. We'll talk about it. Just reach out. And with that, everybody say happy Wednesday good night. Because I can't think when they're behind me. Sorry, Ray.
Have a
Good
great
night.
time.
Happy Wine
Happy
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.